Hi, this is Rain Brown, and you are watching the 13th Wolfman.
Hey everybody, it's 13th Wolfman. You know what? I was watching a video of Karate Popcorn. She was with her young one, and they were doing a top. I think it might have been a top 10 best movies they've seen so far of 2018. Inspired me to do my list. I asked Mama Wolf to do her list. She never shows up on camera, which is fine, but she does the lists, every now and then, which is fine. So I'm good with that. So mine's going to be the top 13. 13. It's part of my name, part of my number. So top 13 movies, best movies I've seen so far in 2018 in the theaters. These are all theater things, So let's just get right into it. We're starting with number 13 on my list. One of my favorite movies for 2018 was Rampage with Dwayne Johnson, based on a classic video game from the 80s. I liked it. This is one of those things where you write down all the movies that you've seen, and then you look and you see what you've got. And when you start filling in the blanks, you're losing spaces, and you're like, Rampage just kind of like, I think it, it kind of made the list, last minute kind of thing. It's not, there wasn't a whole lot towards the bottom, that should have been there. Let's put it that way. For Mama Wolf, her number 13 movie was Strangers Pray at Night. She really liked this movie. She thought it was a cool movie. She really loves the original Strangers with Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. And so when she saw that this was coming out, she's like, gotta go see it. Number 12, for me, it's Hereditary. I love this movie. In fact, when I first started thinking about this list, this movie was a lot higher on the list than it turned out to be. And then again, you start filling in the spaces and you're like, it's got to go somewhere. So it slid into number 12. Number 12 for Mama Wolf is Maze Runner Death Curse. Or Death Cure. I remember she saw the original Maze Runner, she liked it. Then she saw Scorch Trials. And both her and I really didn't care for that movie. So when the third one came out, we were just kind of like, it's a filler movie. But it's a filler movie that's good enough to make it on the list. I mean, the final story to the Maze Runner thing actually had a pretty good conclusion. So, that's how it makes it to her number 12. My number 11 is Mission Impossible Fallout. I've got all these other great movies before this. It had to go somewhere. I mean, I've liked every Mission Impossible movie. It makes the top 13, so, that works. It's a crazy thing. It's a popcorn movie, Whenever these movies come out, they try to sell you on the fact that Tom Cruise does all his stunts, which I call BS. I had a conversation with someone on YouTube about this not too long ago, and he and I are both in agreement that, sure, Tom Cruise can ride a motorcycle, but they're not going to let him flip his body over a car hood, just to get a movie made. So that's my number 11. Her number 11 is Black Panther. Black Panther. This was a movie that we both skipped for the longest time. I was kind of like on a comic book burnout at the time. There was just so much coming out, and so was she, and so we just skipped it. And then like 3 months later, it was still in the theater. And one of those weeks where nothing's coming out that you really want to see, so let's go see Black Panther. It turned out to be a really, really good movie, and she enjoyed it so much that she made it her number 11. My number 10 is Jurassic World. It makes it to number 10 on a reason. I like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I actually liked the previous Jurassic World just a little bit better. This one's still fun, still a good movie, not complaining. But I like the first one, or the first Chris Pratt Jurassic World movie, a little bit better. I'm looking forward to them like tying up this trilogy and kind of like moving on. You know, that's just where I'm kind of am with the whole thing now. Mama Wolf's number 10 is Avengers: Infinity War. Another really good movie. Another comic book movie. We both have both comic book movies on our lists, but yeah, this is a really good one. Where you weren't quite sure what you're going to see when the whole movie came to fruition, you know. So it's that. Now my number 9 was her number 11, Black Panther. Not a whole lot to say about this. The structure of the movie is really cool. I've loved the character Black Panther since I was a kid. You know, when I heard that they were going to do a Black Panther movie, I was looking forward to it. But at the time, I was also feeling with a lot of comic book burnout, so it took a while to see it. But I really like it, so that's my number 9. Her number 9 is, Mama Wolf's number 9 is Tag. Yeah, Tag. This was a hilarious movie. We're gonna have a lot of the same movies, so you're gonna have to hear some of this stuff like more than once. But Tag, yeah, this was a funny movie. It's based on a true story of guys that played tag for 30 years from Spokane, Washington. Jeremy Renner, John Hamm, Ed Helms did a great job. Coming in at number 8, Tag. That's my number 8. So we already talked about it. It's a really, really good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's a comedy, and it's a good time. Coming in at her number 8 is Insidious: The Last Key. I like this movie probably a little bit more than she did, but it's a fun movie. I like the fact that I think when it came to the Insidious movies, I have all 4 of them now, and I like the third movie a lot better than the first. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the first 2 movies, but it was just kind of like one long story for the first 2 movies, whereas the third one kind of dealt with something a little bit different, and I like that a little bit more. So when Last Key came out, I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do. Well, they even dive into it a little bit deeper. They go into the past of Lin Shaye's character, and it really works. So that's her number 8, Insidious 4. My number 7 is Avengers: Infinity War. Yeah, Avengers: Infinity War just works so well. I was surprised that they could get all the characters together, you know, as many as they could, and really write a very cohesive story as they did. And they mixed the characters with other characters so well that it just worked. Her number 7 is Rampage. Yeah, I tease her about all the time. She's a huge Dwayne Johnson fan, so this had to go somewhere on her list, and that's where it went. It went to her number 7. My number 6 is Adrift. Adrift, you say? This was a sleeper of a movie. I don't think very many people saw it, but this girl meets this guy, who's his whole thing is he captains boats. If someone needs their boat shipped or floated, or driven, or sailed, or whatever you want to call it, from one country to another, they hire this guy to captain the boat. And then it's like, oh, we need our 36-foot schooner, to go from Spain to Portugal or whatever. And so he takes it to Portugal, and then he gets another job taking another boat somewhere else, and that's how he so he meets while in port, he meets a girl that they just fall in love, and he's like, I want you to come with me while I deliver this boat to, I think they're going to San Diego, if I remember right. They start out in Thailand, and I think they're going to go to San Diego, California, and big bad storm hits and some other things happen. It's a really, really good movie. I really dug it. That's why it's my number 6. Her number 6 is Jurassic World. She's a huge... Mama Wolf loves her dinosaurs. She really does. She loves all the Jurassic Park movies, the Jurassic World movies. You know, just big dinosaurs, you know, tearing up the world. She loves it, so that's why, I know that's why she put it at number 6, because the stuff that comes before it on her list, you know, it has to go somewhere. I keep saying that, but it's true. Coming in, my number 5 is Game Night. Game Night was just another one of those comedies that no one talked about that was just freaking hilarious. Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman has been, I keep on saying this, he's been knocking it out of the park since the early 2000s. I mean, there was a time where he was gone. He was off the map. No one, it's like he did Silver Spoons in the Hogan Family in the 1980s, and then after the Hogan Family went off the air, he just kind of like disappeared, didn't want to do anything else. And in the 2000s, early 2000s, he started booking as many films as he could. And they're all funny. Very Bad Words was a hilarious movie that he was in. But Game Night, it's just a bundle of fun, man. I hope they make a sequel to Game Night. I really do, because it was so funny. So that's my number 5. Her number 5 is Mission Impossible Fallout. She likes her dinosaurs, and she likes Tom Cruise. And yeah, she really digs the Mission Impossible movies. I dig them too. Like I said, you know, it just depends on... I didn't want to spend like 3 days on the list when I made mine up. I'm like, whatever I put it at is where I'm going to put it. And so that's why it comes in at number 11 on mine, because my top 10 was just all this other stuff that I wanted to put in there. I was like, oh, okay. With her, she thought about it and rethought about it and did this, and that's why, you know, Mission Impossible makes it to her number 5. My number 4 is Unsane. God, this movie was so good. I couldn't believe that they shot this entire thing on phones. The whole thing was shot on, you know, app like an iPhone. I was going to call it an Apple phone, but it's like an iPhone, you know. And it looks incredible. The story is really, really cool. This chick checks into a mental hospital because she thinks she sees a guy that's been stalking her. And she checks in and she can't check out. And she's like, just a second, I'm not crazy. I'm not nuts. I'm just here to deal with, you know, possibly a stalker issue. And there's a lot more to it. It's really well done. Steven Soderbergh did it, and I would like to see more of this. I thought it was just so well put together. So Unsane, that's my number 4. Her Mama Wolf's number 4 is The Meg. We just saw it over the weekend, and it's a giant shark movie, a megalodon, and I like shark movies. I wind up dragging her to shark movies. You know, I think she likes them, but she sees most of them because of me. You know, so that's her number 4. My number 3 is Insidious: The Last Key. Now this was a little bit further down on her list. You know, this was her number 8. This is my number 3. My top 3 are pretty much going to be more horror-esque related. You know, not, I guess one you could, but it's more in that vein. You know, so I loved, like I said, the third movie. I love this movie. I think they could stop now when it comes to the Insidious movies. They can go, you know what, we're good, we're done, let's call it a day. But it's also got a very open-ended, you know, ending, so they could, if they wanted to, make another one. I could see where it's going to go, but I really would like this to be the last one, just because I think it ended so well. So that's my number 3. Mama Wolf's number 3 is Skyscraper. That's Dwayne Johnson movie number 2 for her. That's right. I said it before and I'll say it again. She likes her Dwayne Johnson. And honestly, Skyscraper didn't make my list because I ran out of spots. I mean, there was stuff I wanted to make sure I put on my list. Unsane made my list, so I mean, something had to give way. So she's got Skyscraper. She loved it. It's a good movie. I liked it. It would, if I did a 15 or a top 15, it would definitely be in like the top 15. But this is 13, so what can you do? I know I'm making up the rules as I go along. But yeah, so that's it. Skyscrapers for number 3. My number 2 is The Meg. That's right, The Meg. Megalodons. This movie was so well done, and it's a popcorn movie. I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, the shark looked kind of hokey and this, and it's a shark movie, but it's not goofy. I don't know. I just really dug how they did this movie and how well it was put together, and the story really worked for me, so that's why it's my number 2. And her number 2 is Game Night. Yeah. She again, it's not that I didn't like Game Night. Game Night made my top 5. It made her top 5. It's her number 2. We both really dug this movie. It's just so funny, so well done. I keep saying that, but a lot of these movies aren't just slapped and pasted together. I was like, hey, they actually went out of their way to come up with a coherent story and an interesting storyline to sell to us. And we're sitting there going, okay, I can see that. I dig that. Sure. And that's why it's her number 2. My number 1, of course, is A Quiet Place. This was such a cool movie. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time going, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And I loved it. The look of them, the look of the things, and the reason that they got to be quiet. And I remember seeing the trailer for this, and this kid's got this toy in his hand, and it makes noise, and you could see the father and the mother freaking out, because it's making noise, and he runs back and he grabs that toy, and I'm just thinking, who the hell, if you got to be quiet, if you've got to make sure that you're quiet, who gives this little boy this toy? And who makes sure that there's batteries in it? And then you find out the whole story behind that, and it's just kind of, it's just kind of really cool. John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, knock it out of the park as a husband and wife, because they are husband and wife. Krasinski directed this movie. It's just so good. This movie deserves to be in an Oscars type of thing, because it was that good. So that's my number 1. What's Mama Wolf's number 1? Shh. A Quiet Place. That's right. Our number 1s are matching. She liked it that much. I liked it that much. And it's not a whole lot more I could say about The Quiet Place. I just loved it. Yeah, it had a bunch of crazy conceptions, and it just worked. But yeah, that's my top 13, and my Mama Wolf's top 13 best movies we've seen so far for 2018. What do you think? Is there anything on here you would change? I'm just wondering. So always like, subscribe, share, and comment. I want to know what you have to say. With that, of course, I'm the 13th Wolfman, and I'm on the prowl.